Welcome back. CDC employees rallying outside of the agency headquarters here in Atlanta yesterday in a show of support for recently appointed director Susan Menarez and for other top CDC leaders who resigned in solidarity. NBC News reported Menarez was ousted because she clashed with Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. over vaccine policies. The entire group, who planned to walk out on their own, were instead escorted out by security. Join us now is NBC Washington correspondent Alice Barr. And Alice, understand before we get to that, you have some breaking news about Kamala Harris?
Yeah, we have just confirmed that President Trump has revoked the Secret Service protection for former Vice President Kamala Harris. Typically, there would be a 6-month period when vice presidents receive Secret Service protection. So we're at that point. It's not that it was stopped before then. But President Biden signed a memorandum in January that was set to extend Harris's protection for another to make it an 18-month protection from the Secret Service in total. And that is what President Trump has reversed. And we got a statement from the vice president's office from an advisor saying simply that she is grateful to the United States Secret Service for their professionalism, dedication, and unwavering commitment to safety. And from the Trump administration, they're just saying 6 months is standard, and that's what they're going with. It comes at a moment when Vice President Harris, the former Vice President Harris, was about to go out on a book tour about her historically brief presidential campaign, of course, against President Trump. And what NBC is hearing from sources within her circle is that they had sort of baked in that she was going to have Secret Service protection for that book tour. So they certainly are having to scramble now to make other secure arrangements before she heads out on the road.
Is there a precedent on this, Alice? Do you know? I mean, is this a typical thing that happens? I know you mentioned that 6 months and that's done, but is there a precedent on this?
Yeah, I mean, 6 months is standard, and President Biden, signed a memorandum, so he basically took executive action to extend her Secret Service protection up to 18 months. But as we have seen, that kind of executive action, it's not legislation, so it's not binding, and the next president can make up their own mind. So, President Trump has revoked Secret Service protection for John Bolton, for instance, his former national security advisor, who also just had his home raided by the FBI looking for classified documents. He has had more than one instance where he's revoked Secret Service protection that had been deemed appropriate, and the people that he revoked it from were people that he has had known conflicts with. So that's the backdrop here as well. All
right. Thanks a lot, Alice, for that breaking news. Let's go back to that CDC story. You've been on the local front some time here with this. What are you hearing from the White House about this shakeup?
Yeah, so this is certainly a shakeup, and it's leaving people shaken at the CDC there, of course, in Atlanta. So Susan Menarez had been appointed by President Trump. She'd been confirmed just weeks ago, just about a month ago, and she has been fired, although she's fighting it, and she said she hasn't heard directly from President Trump, so she's not clear if she actually needs to go, and her attorneys are trying to look at their options. But there has already been a replacement named, and we saw this really remarkable scene of the 4 top health policy advisors there at the CDC who all resigned in protest over Dr. Menarez's firing. They're leading experts in public health, infectious diseases, vaccines, and they are sounding the alarm, saying that there's a real danger to public health in America with kind of the stripping down of all of these really important officials at the CDC. And their biggest linchpin argument is about vaccines, and they're concerned that this replacement that's been named, his name is Jim O'Neill. He is a top deputy to Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a vaccine skeptic, that having him in place now instead of Dr. Menarez can clear the way for more undermining of vaccine policy.
All right, I'm sure more to come. Alice, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Have a great holiday weekend.